Alright, hello everyone. I'm Zircon16 and I will be doing a advanced tutorial on Luigi's Mansion. I did a beginner's tutorial basically on teaching people how to do the basics of the game, basically going through the game. This one is more designed for people that already know that type of stuff but want to know like a little bit more of how we go up to like a higher level. Like, instead of just walking through a hallway, walking through it faster, getting a ghost faster, I'll explain that in all different places on the board, so I don't need to explain how to start a run. You should already know. I mean, we start from file select if you don't. From here, you press A. You want to go to Hidden Mansion because there's no way to balance tutorial. You're going to use the Hidden Mansion. So, to start off, we already explained in the beginner's tutorial where to go. We already know how to move, right? We already know how to do all that stuff. This is gonna fall on my head now. Basically, like, you have to use some type of logic, right? We want to go up to this room and into this room, right? And I don't actually remember my other tutorial, but I'm sure I told you that right doors are faster than left doors because he pushes the door open. In this version, it'd be PAL, it'd be the other way. So you want to go there and go through the right door first of all, we'll say that. Both ways. Right, both ways. And you want to go this way because that door, as opposed to going the right way, you want to go close to the side of the door you're going to be opening it slightly faster. Which you already know, we already did that in the beginner's tutorial. We're ignoring the toad when he just sits there and cries as well. So like, in the beginner's tutorial I probably just said, you know, you just want to go up here any way you can because, you know, we're just learning. For this tutorial we're going to say like, you want to get there as, like, as fast as you can. You're saying that, what do you mean? Well, like, take everything into account. Like when you start a run, for example, you want to go straight left, you don't want to somehow go around, you know, you want to have your movement like right on point, you want to go straight left. You can even like anticipate this. I can't move the camera from what it is, but you can see there's like the head of the staircase here. You can like move toward that, and then so that Luigi's virtually touching it when you get here. And then right when you get to where Luigi can walk over here, you want to turn up. You don't want to wait to turn up until you're on this side. And then wait to turn when you're way over here, you know what I'm saying? This is going to be slower than this. And tied around this corner as well. Which what I do, and I know me and a couple other runners do this. I started doing this as well. If you put the flashlight down with it on, it will give you this camera angle so you can see where you're going. You can kind of line yourself up to get tight corners all the way through, and tight corners all the way up to the door. So, I would suggest personally using that. It makes it easier. A lot of people don't do it, so I mean, if you can do it like this, that's fine, but that's one thing you want to keep in mind. You want to like cut corners everywhere as much as possible, because you don't want to lose frames to anything going down the middle part of the hallway. Instead, you know, anticipating where you're going next. I always think it's like better to like diagonal wise you're walking, so like if I'm gonna be as tight around the corner when I turn from here to here, I'm gonna have to use like a diagonal angle going up. Upper right in his case. So that I'll be touching this, and then I'll be able to go around. You want to make sure you're doing as much movement toward the direction you're going as possible, and the least amount of turning as possible. But basically just like shaping an exact angle of where you're going. So you're just walking up here, tight angle, and tight angle, and then this you can also take into account. I don't do this as well as others, but you can take this into account as well. I mean, you can go through the right door from way over here. And you can also go through the right door being a little closer. The closer you are to the door, the less time you lost. If I'm way over here and I open the door, it takes them a little bit longer. And the closer you can get, the faster it is. You also risk opening the other door because it's pretty finicky, especially coming at it pretty fast. But just, you know, see how close you can get it once you're comfortable with it. See if you can get as optimal as possible. So now that we've done that, we know that from the beginner tutorial that we have to take out these candles to start the cutscene. And I don't remember 100% how I discussed it there. I had probably some simple way. Maybe there was nothing any other way other than simple, but basically I just press R and hold up, just tap up just a little bit. Maybe you can see the angle here. It's kind of like this much. I mean, you kind of have to get a feel for it, where it is, but you just tap up just a little bit and go forward. Here's a save state for this so I can continue. I think I did that, didn't I? Did I do that? Yeah, I did, okay. I was looking at the OBS window instead. Ooh, look, right door, don't do that. So anyway, we're going up here, left door. We're gonna go through the left door, we're gonna do the right thing. A little bit up, and then back and forth. I normally like scrape the edges of the top of the controller when I'm going back and forth in the front. Like, you're sucking forward and you're going back and forth, and you can kind of, you can see it from my controller cam as well, as I should be paying more attention to be using at this time too. You kind of like push the edges of the controller stick up at the top. That's what I do to get the candles out. Just push them just a little bit. It's a very little bit, and it's probably better if you can do the least amount. You like balance out you wiggling left and right with forward momentum, because the more left and right you do, the less forward momentum Luigi's gonna go. So you want to go as far like forward as possible. And actually I could say this now that I've done it. I actually move a little bit forward before, you probably see that. But I move forward a little bit before I actually start wiggling back and forth. So instead of like doing it in the beginning. Yeah. I think I did in the beginning there too, but I think you know what I'm saying. You move up a little bit and then do it. Can help as well. I did it a lot there. I think it's been a little bit faster for me that way. We just moved forward first. I can continue with this now. Sorry, just turning off some stuff there. Or turning down some stuff. So the cutscene we already know about. We know it's going to spawn ghosts. And you have ghosts here. Hold on, let me stop that. So like, you're gonna want to like keep in mind with these ghosts. I actually think it's better if I go from the start, because I kind of did that at a weird time. But this is when like animations and other stuff come into play. But we'll review. So you did your tight corners, right? You went around the corners, got as close to the door as you could get. Move forward, then do it. I'll try to do the save state during the cutscene. So you're gonna want to like turn around as much as like as fast as possible, obviously. Still too loud, I'm turning the game down for me. Anyway, you turn around, you get the first ghost, and you kind of want to like I didn't do the save state, but you kind of want to like get an idea of not just sucking up the ghost, but also getting progressive on what you're doing. So let's start with this idea. You know where the ghosts are. You know how to use scare skips, I assume. If you don't, you bring out the game mode horror by pressing X and then do that. So what I did there, for example, is a good example. Instead of just sucking up the ghost, I actually went to where the chest was going to be after the last ghost was sucked up, for example. So like I set myself up as close to the chest as I can, so I can get it as fast as possible, literally like right on it, so all I have to do is press A. You know? So another thing with the key is you can save time on that I can explain later too. If we can explain animations a little bit, they're the most complex part, and it's going to be hard for me to explain entirely. But there's like a idea of that you want, there's this like wiggle type thing that a lot of people do. You kind of do it, you want to suck up ghosts. First of all, you want to suck up ghosts in the opposite direction they're facing. And the goals are, in the angles in this game are very, very particular. So the more correct your angle is, the faster it's going to go. So as you get better at the game, you'll probably just go faster by accident if you start paying attention to it more and more and more and more all the time. You know what I mean? So you kind of want to just like pick up the ghost, look at what he's doing, and kind of get like a wiggle, a slight wiggle in the opposite direction of which the ghost is facing as well. You kind of have this thing called like a tight string. You want to have a tight string on the ghost. You're looking at like, that's the other thing about animations. You see a string that is formed on the ghost when it's there. And you want to visualize it being as tight as possible. The tighter that it is, the better that will work out for you. And you have a couple frames where you can move, like right, I was still able to get in front of this so I could open this even though it didn't look like I was going to. There's a couple frames that you can do a little bit of movement right before the cutscene starts. So you have to be able to get the feel for that idea and comfortable with that type of thing as well. But yeah, so you're like wiggling in the opposite direction of which the ghost is facing. You want to pay attention to the vacuum, particularly with animations, and not like where the ghost is facing with the animations, particularly, is what I've noticed. Like, pay attention to where the vacuum is. You want the vacuum to be facing the same way. I'll try not to get off of hand cam as much as I can, I promise. But yeah, so you just want to kind of get that idea. I don't even wiggle as much as normal. I just have like interesting like type movement. Because the more you play this game, you kind of just, you can get better animations. I know if I get like a real good tight angle, particularly in the opposite direction of the ghost, it looks pretty good. See, I didn't even use wiggle there. Like, focus on the angles more than anything else, and the wiggle does help. It's kind of, I think the wiggle might be more of like a helper with like understanding what causes the game to do that. I've heard people say like it's being on the same frame as when Luigi you want Luigi to be standing up straight on the same frame as the animation starts, and the wiggle kind of helps you do that. It can be something related to that. So keep that in mind. Alright, now for this, so the key drops on the ground, right, and it drops in a specific spot. You get used to where it is after a while. And normally, you know, just pick it up and you're good to go. You go to the next room. Well, you can get there a little bit faster. A little bit faster, because when the key drops, you have the ability to move just a little bit, as you saw me do there. Right when the key hits the ground, you can move a little bit. So, like, you know where you're going, so move the controller stick in that direction you would be going. Move it a little bit upright or right. Try to do upright. You know what I mean? You can even be more particular because the key has a hitbox, just like anything else. Get the most upper right portion of the key that you want and see if you can, you can do as much as you want. As optimized as you want to try to make it. You know, everything matters. Because they all have hitboxes and they all stop, so I mean, like, the best thing to do is if you don't, like, get this one right away, it generally is just wait for the key to drop and then move. I was a little bit late on the full motion there, but I did move a little bit. There may even be a slight area where you can do it before it drops, but like basically that idea. So we're going ahead and go into the next stream. Continue to that part. Let's see, should we review it all? Do we do okay? I think we're fine. So the second room. It's pretty straightforward, right? Same idea, you know where the ghost is. Another thing you can keep in mind is that you can use objects with animations as well. You want the particular angle, you want all of that type of thing, but what you can also do is you can also like use objects and other things to like force them to not be as long of animations. So like with this ghost, for example, I'll take them under the lamp or the chandelier or whatever that is on the top. So the animation can't reach the entire ceiling and there's less places to go. I even go for like the lowest point there. And you kind of like pin the second one in between both of those lights, basically, so he doesn't get like stuck up in them, because he's already up. You know what I mean? Because he's already, you have pretty much no choice if you want to get him right away. He's already going to be up there. So you kind of want to keep him in between. And just keep the same idea, you know. Same idea. Opposite direction. Hoping give you 10 health. And when pumping every 10 health, there is a variation, because I mean you can like pump slower. So let me go back and make a save state for that. You can pump slower and you can pump faster. I mean, if I just say pump every 10 health, well, you can do it a lot of different ways. What I've noticed is that, like, the second you want to get the entire life off before you start pumping, the faster, there's like a faster way of doing it and a slower way of doing it. And the fact of like the life coming off, I've noticed the slightly, like, you want to make sure you get all the life off way is better. That makes sense, and make sure you get like down to 9 and then do it. Because what you can do is you can like do it faster. And it tends to be a little bit slower to do that, even though you would think, oh, pump, pump, it's faster, right? For some reason you want to have like the entire like angle against the vacuum of the entire time pulling back and then pulling back again once you see it, like instantly react quickly to it. You know, don't react slowly to it, is the other thing. If you react slowly to it, it's going to take some time to get the life off, or you may do that, who knows. See what I'm saying? If it takes you a while to like react to it happening because you're not comfortable with it, but that would be more of a beginner thing. You would think you would be more comfortable with it. So you would instead just be fine with it, basically. So moving on from that, I think that explains most of that. There is a obviously there are two doubles in this room. Before, you know, I probably had some type of beginner strat, right, where you just want to get them together, make it simple, and do it well. Obviously, you want to make it possible to get the double or any ghost as fast as possible. And that happens from the width of the flashlight. How am I going to explain this with this? The width of the flashlight. I'm going to keep these guys from spawning, I guess, or try to. But the width of the flashlight is varied on how big of a spread you can get ghosts. Go away, thank you. Dude, the width of the flashlight is like the area of which you can get a ghost, and the amount of light that you can see is about how long the range is. But one of the ghosts has to be really close and the other ghost has to be really far away, basically. So you want to get like one ghost to be like at the very left edge. You want one ghost to be at like the very left edge of the flashlight, where like right where the light comes out of the flashlight. I don't know how these people keep appearing, but like right at the upper left of the flashlight. Right when it comes out of the flashlight, you want the first ghost to be as close as possible. The second one can be that far away from like where the light spreads, basically. The other light spreads out and goes and then stops. The ghost can be as far away as that light is, if you do it right and have the right like spread of that. If you turn around too quickly, and you like are here and the flashlight would not have had the width to turn around, that's how you like turn around and don't get a double when you turn around really quickly, because you haven't like gotten that width correctly. So with this double, you kind of line yourself up, and you want to turn as left as possible. Even I did in bed, but you want to turn like, I even have it set up so that I move a little bit left so that I'm closer to the left one. And then the second that you see that ability to turn around, and I'm not doing it as optimal as you could do it, I'm doing it like much more than I was doing it in the first example, right? So you're going to turn toward the first ghost, so you want to be a little bit closer to him. You want to go straight left. Right, you want to move straight left. You don't want to go around left around the other ghost. It's going to take you longer to do that. Straight left. The other ghost will follow you there on the other side. And you should be able to do it like almost instantly when you turn around, if you turn around at the right time. If you turn around too early, you'll do what I did in the first example. You can either get one or do that, one or the other. We like flash them. So yeah, turn around too early. The flashlight didn't have the width. The flashlight didn't have a wide enough width to make it over to the other ghost, so it didn't allow me to get it. I had to go a little bit further before I turned around. So I was trying to go a little bit too fast. And that is because I was not like leaned into that ghost. I was a little bit too far away from the ghost on the left side, so like the right one didn't actually end up in the chain. See, I was right on his grill there and got it. That even looked further than the last one, right? What you want, and the same idea as before. Animations are much easier to manipulate with doubles than they are singles. Singles are the hardest manipulations in the game. The doubles and the triples are actually much easier to get a feel for. Nice. You don't have to have the flashlight on. I think I don't. It may actually be better to not to a degree, so that you don't have to like worry about accidentally flashing the guy. Like maybe have one of those moments. Everyone's probably had one of these moments where they like accidentally flash them or do one of them, you know. I think I normally keep it off too. I don't know why I'm doing that now. It gives you that option to do that, and that guy was just too far away and I leaned out on it. Didn't lean in. I doubt I would have gotten it anyway, but I did lean in on that one and got it. But like, you still want the tight string, and you still want to like make sure that it goes in as fast as possible. Keep the wiggle in mind. Make sure the vacuum is pointed in the opposite direction of where the ghost is facing with the animation. Focus on the vacuum all the time with the animation. So always the goal, always the goal. Tight string. And with animations, use walls too. I'll use walls sometimes, stand next to the wall. It'll help you with that. It's not required, but it helps you with that. It makes it easier. What happens is when you lean against a wall, keeps the animation from getting any longer and pulled away, so it ends up staying like tight. Because you're not pulling against it anymore, you're kind of just staying on a wall. And you want the animation to have a tight string when you're doing the animation, but you don't want to like pull against it or pull with it per se when it's actually initiating and the ghost is coming into the vacuum. You obviously want to be pulling against it during the ghost suck-ups, obviously, but you don't want to be doing it during any other type of situation there. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times, if I can, double is more important there. But I've just started doing stuff like this, so I'll try to use the wall for this one. It tends to be a tighter angle for me when I do that too. And me trying to go so fast. I use the wall and just wiggle just a tad. So we have the second double. Right, in the second double, you want to line yourself up like on this little... I line myself on the little small area here. Move that away again. Right, I like to line myself on this little small little thing that's on the ground, personally. A lot of people do things different there. I've seen people like line up here. I've seen people line up in a lot of different places. I've seen most of them do something like this or something like this. Obviously, you can be a little riskier and be a little further back. I'm about in this area normally, and then you just kind of do like a rotation. Like a circle from left to right, around. Because normally I'll let them move first. That'll be the best way to explain it. I'll get to this, and then I'll let them move first, and then I'll go. Maybe I'll go back a little bit, make that safe state a little bit further back. It's like right happening right away. See, normally if I don't allow them to move a little bit to me, it doesn't work out. So you want to like try to. I normally hold out the vacuum so I suck up the hearts of the other double. It's the same idea, but this is the double that a lot of people miss in the speedruns. Great runners miss this one all the time because you go for the optimal one, and because it's at such a bad angle, you can't really see it. But it's the same idea. The flashlight width. It's the same idea whether or not you're close enough to the ghost to get the double and make sure within the flashlight width. And you get it as soon as possible, and you do the animations and all that other good stuff, right? You want to do all that stuff all together, keep that stuff all in mind all the time, and you're always progressing to the next area. So you're doing that, you're getting the double, you're getting the stuff out of the way if you want to. And generally for me, hearts or anything in the game, from what I understood, is that anything in the game that's active tends to cause more lag from what I see, so I try to get rid of everything I can. Even flashlight, on. That's why I don't have flashlight on personally. Anything that I see, hearts are normally a really good one. So always try to get rid of them. And then you get the double, and you want to go to the door, right? You're going to go to this door next. You don't want to just get the double and be over here. Then I got to walk over here. And you don't need to get the hearts. Don't feel that needy to get the hearts. You don't need them. Yeah. That's a joke. Don't really do that. Well, it's serious, but it's a joke. I figured you would know that. Just go to the door. And then you want to press A as fast as possible, but you do want to avoid one thing. You can, I don't know if I'll be able to do this intentionally or not. Yeah, I did it intentionally. So like if you press A on the door hitbox before the initiation of the lights coming up with the cutscene, you'll actually, because when you open a door in this game, the game stops. So there's no progress in the way the game works until afterwards. So you'll open the door, you'll try to open the door, and then the cutscene will happen after you get slammed off of it. So you want to avoid doing that as well. So you want to go as fast as you can without doing that. That would be too fast. And if you don't get the kickback, then you most likely won't have that problem. But if you get the kickback like you want to, typically you'll have to face that issue possibly. Alright, excuse me, just getting water. Let's see, so we have that. We'll finish this with this room. We'll continue with this room as well. And then I'll probably move on from that. So there's a ghost right here that's going to spawn, and there's a ghost in the left, right? You want to go straight, like, let me get rid of this guy. What state did I make this on anyway, 2? 1? 3? Anywhere? Oh, hold on, we'll walk back out the door and come back a couple times. Hold on. Must have not, save states must have died. Hold on. Try this again. Oh no, wait, I bet it didn't. Well, no, it still would have, I just wouldn't have clicked it. Wow, Molossus. So it's 2. Okay. We figured ourselves out. Now that we're done doing that, like I was saying, so you want to move to the left cabinet because you're trying to set up the 2 singles that are faster than the double over there now, right? So you want to move there as fast as possible. You want to move just a little bit up, just a little bit, but you want to go as left as possible. Make sure you get your optimal movement as much as possible. Don't roll around like this, you know. None of that. None of that type of thing. Just go straight over here and get your ghost. Try to get a scare skip. And this is a good explanation for this one too. I say the knock is slightly manipulated. It seems like it's RNG to a lot of people because it doesn't seem controllable. You can never get it consistently, but it seems slightly manipulated. I notice when I mash as fast as possible, when I'm using the thumb mashing that I do, slash like hitting the object that I'm hitting with at an angle, as opposed to going at it straight on with Luigi, tends to like get a knocking as opposed to a humping animation, which allows him to actually move a little bit quicker because of that. And still, it's not guaranteed that I get it, but it's the same idea. You get the singles. And I got that there as well. I don't know, I probably didn't explain this one either, most likely. When you're getting, after you're getting the 2 singles, I actually have an easier way that I do this now. You can get the second ghost with the C-stick and just lean back, and then pull yourself right in line, and do it correctly there. But you can pull yourself right in line, so that you can have the double right away. And the instant setup here. Animations, always remember the technique of animations. And the same idea with that double. Like flashlight, you can push that ghost, obviously. So you want to push him, and then get the spread and yourself set up in the correct position with the width of the flashlight so that the green ghost is as close as he can be. And the orange ghost is within the width of the flashlight. Then you can still get the W. I did that one a little bit faster. And if you get an optimal suck up with the banana ghost, you won't see a banana. If you don't, like I did, then you did a little bit slower. Same idea, always pay attention to the angles, do everything you can to help with that type of thing, you know? Do everything you can help with that type of thing. So let's see, we'll continue on to the next part of that after we review it again. So one ghost. But you're doing the same thing basically, right? Make sure you notice how I press down on the C-stick there to make sure the ghost is on the way. Make sure you get the banana out of the way. You can line yourself up like... You can get this whatever way you're comfortable with. A lot of people are really comfortable with getting it the other direction, the opposite of what I did. Your save state here, so you can put your face like directly in it, and then see I went like around them and got as close as I could, and then got that side angle on it so I could get the guy behind him. Can't go like straight on, gotta get the side angle on him from behind. You can put your nose like directly, I don't even think I do this in runs, but I know people do this, it's like directly into the face and then turn out and go. Seems to be the fast way of doing it. I know from like default thinking, I think I do it a little bit slower, so I like sit over here and do that, and you see like if I try to do it really fast, it doesn't quite happen because it's not close enough, so you have to be like a little bit more left. And that's okay that I double pumped him because I would have gotten it if I didn't do that. Another thing you can keep in mind is that hard lock-ons, perfect timing, perfect timing, perfect timing. Hard lock-on can cause you to miss the ghost too. So you want to get rid of them if you can as well. Just make sure you're doing the pumps correctly and all that good stuff, you know, pump, 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 do all that type of things correctly. And we'll talk about the key here as well. You can keep yourself stationary for all the ghosts and focus on the animations when you don't need to move. Like for that one, you have plenty of time to get to the key, so you have nothing to worry about. But when you have to progressively move, then worry about moving. If you don't worry about moving, don't try to make the animation any longer than it is. You know, just worry about getting it to be as intact as you can with all those ideas, you know. Opposite direction of the ghost, make sure the vacuum is in the opposite direction of which it's facing, and wiggling side to side in the opposite direction of which it's facing to help with that, to get yourself in the right position so that it comes a little bit shorter, like right when the animation starts. Right around the 0 area. There's definitely like a leeway with that. If you do it way before, it's much more costly. Depending on how risky you want to take it, you can like do it much later. You can do animations like much later, and it won't be like as bad if you do them much earlier. Like if I mess around with this a lot really early, it'll look really bad. But if I stay against it the entire time and then wait afterwards to do, like if I'm really way late with the wiggle, and wiggle like way after the animation starts, you still see how it kind of like jumped into the vacuum a little bit quicker after I did it. It's not the fastest way to do it, but it's a little bit better. So it's better to be slower than it is to be faster on the animation. So if you want to learn yourself backwards that way, you know, do it a little bit slower. And then when the animation starts going in the vacuum, hit it, then it'll be a little bit better still than you've done before. Just make sure you're opposite direction of ghosts and all that things with the vacuum and all that other type of stuff. So the key, which I think I did for this, you want to go straight left, and you can get rid of hearts again if you're like lag and all that other good stuff. Waste time. A lot of people like to do some style and messing with stuff. I just kind of turn around and go straight backwards. I think is what Snap does. I'll line myself up. I'll go ahead and get the key and then explain it. You line yourself up with like his nose touching the end of that cupboard there, or cabinet there. Wardrobe, I guess is the word. It's wardrobe room, right? That, I think you can go as far back as this and get away with it. But I think you want to be like, let's see what we can do. You don't want to go too far back because obviously you won't get it at all eventually. But you can see that was a little bit wavy, so like a little bit closer. You obviously want to time it out because it's like a 4-second barrier. Or if you're used to it, I use like a seeing timing, like when the key turns around, about when it turns straight. You notice how it like starts turning like straight right and then starts going back right as it goes, starts going to the back wall, you can get it. So depending on how you want to look at it, you want to time it with time, because right when it hits the floor, it's 4 seconds. Right when it hits the little place that's up there, it takes 4 seconds before you can take it. I normally use high as opposed to that. I mean, sometimes I like knock with my head. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes I do that with this. I catch myself doing something like that. It's not a bad habit to have. Yeah, somewhere around the nose of where Luigi is, or maybe a little bit further back. Even works there. You just don't want to be like really close. You don't want to do this. It's a little bit slower. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I think if you get close enough, you won't actually do any. If you're like too close, you have to be like really good with timing. I think you could like time it correctly and make it work. I mean, I know some people do it differently. I know some people that like bring it from way back here and time it, and then just start dragging it all the way. I mean, if you could time it that way, I guess. You know, I just find it much easier because the easiest way for me to do it semi-optimally is I wait for it to move and then I start going. The angle wasn't correct, so I did that the hard lock on. That's why you don't want a hard there. Make sure you're straight up with a controller stick when you go back. And obviously, where are we going? We're going to that door. So we need to be as close to that door as possible. So the closer we can get to that door, and the less problems we have with the key when we get to that door. Like if we get to the door like right now, but the key's still over there, that's not faster. I mean, you gotta have a good combination there, a good balance. Good balance. And a good angle, also. Always good angle. Straight left, straight up. A lot of times I'll like wait until I see it move before I'll start going. That happens to me a lot. That helps you. If you're bad with the timing like this, I just eye it until the second I see it move and then start moving back. Sometimes it only gets me to here, but it's very consistent for me to do it pretty fast. Not necessarily as fast, but pretty fast. We do this game pretty fast, so it works for me. Hopefully it'll work for others too. Beyond that, obviously, same idea. With this, you know, you want to go at an angle as close as you can to the next place you're going. So Luigi opens doors specific ways, and you can't really see it here. But like he opens the doorknob. He opens it from the doorknob, right? Because that's what you would do as a human being. You'd open it from the doorknob and you would go through it, right? So if you get the key and you're over here and you press A, he's going to walk all the way up there and then get the door, right? You're going to want to walk, you're going to want to not only bring the key back, but keep in mind, maybe like bring it back as far up as possible as well without actually getting it caught on anything. And then you'll be like right in the door and you want to focus on the doorknob there. So you got the doorknob right away, fast as possible. Frames are everything. Frames are everything. That's what you want. So then when you open that door, you want to go at an angle. Prefer just going directly at an angle toward where you're going. You don't want to go down here and then up, or vice versa as you'd be going the other way. You don't want to do that. You want to go to a straight angle. You want to visualize where that door is going and make that exact angle directly toward it, straight right toward it. And then the same idea, you don't want to open the door over here. Because I mean you could think that, some people could think that, well, if I open the doorway over here, it's faster. The faster I get to the door hitbox, the faster, right? Well, supposedly it's slightly slower when Luigi uses his like little like fast walk animation that he uses for door hitboxes. See that he uses there? So you don't want to press A the second you get to the door. You want to press A the second you hit the doorknob. That's your fast way. And then the same thing over here, you want to get the exact angle directly to this. And it's a little bit easier coming out for some reason. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it's a little bit easier coming out to get an optimal door. Tends to favor that way a lot better. So that's a thing. And this will be the first part of this video. So we'll continue this advanced version of this tutorial into the later half of Area 1, which I think is something like I did with the beginner tutorial. I don't know if it was the same, but we're going to continue this the same way. I hope this helps. I hope you can always leave questions with me on the video, whatever I'm streaming, or regardless of whatever with the situation. But thanks everyone for watching. I hope it helps people understand things a bit more, and hopefully I'll like maybe be able to further explain stuff that maybe I didn't explain entirely, but a little bit more as we go, because you won't always think of everything. So maybe I'll make other videos here and there, possibly as well. Not necessarily guaranteed, but possibly. Maybe I'll just say, oh, maybe I should add that in there, and I might add that in there too. But we're on the right track with this. This is definitely more of the idea of what you're looking for. If you want like times and more at the top of the leaderboard, this is what you're looking for. Something like this. So we will see you next time. We'll do the end of Area 1 on the No Out of Bounds Advanced tutorial. See you all next time.